don't know, for some reason, this particular episode is proving quite difficult to video coherently. So hopefully this is the one that works. I've tried this about 5 times already. Okay. Paticca Samuppada. How suffering comes into being. So a modest overview. We suffer because we misinterpret the nature of reality, fundamental ignorance, misinterpretation, and as a consequence we find it unsatisfactory. We want to resolve the problem of suffering, and so we do so through action, the rejection of reality, the non-seeing reality as it is, the misinterpretation of reality, the rejection of that misinterpretation, which leads to action to try to remedy the problem of unsatisfactoriness. The results of those actions are just equally as unsatisfactory, and therefore we find ourselves caught on this never-ending loop of action and result, rejection of the result, new action, action leading to a result, rejection of the result leading to new action. And what is it actually that we're rejecting when it really boils down to it? So mostly in the world we see it as the fault of the world is wrong politicians in power, the wrong religions, the wrong, everything is wrong. So it's something wrong with us. So it's a rejection of the way we believe ourselves to be, or the way we believe the world to be, that it should be different. But if you start to look at it really, really closely, you discover that it is the actual feeling of an experience that we are reacting to, that we are responding to. It is the feeling element. So the Buddha states that the necessary condition for the arising of craving is feeling. If the feeling isn't there, the craving does not arise. So there are 3 basic kinds of feeling. Feeling is an aggregate, so it's an ultimate. There are 3 basic kinds. There are pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and neutral feelings. So it is in the books they say it is the flavour of the object. So as we go through life, we're always perpetually on the threshold between action and result. So there's this never-ending cascade of sensory information coming to us via the 5 physical senses and mind. Those sense contacts produce feelings, and we are reacting and responding to the feeling element. So pleasant feelings, the Buddha said we are greedy for. We want pleasant feelings. Unpleasant feelings we want to get rid of, we have an aversion towards, and neutral feelings develops our tendency to ignore. We ignore neutral feelings. So in terms of condition-dependent origination, we misinterpret feeling in the belief that we are separate from experience. We regard feeling as being me or mine or myself. I am feeling, or feeling is contained within me, or I am contained within feeling, or I am the owner of feeling. All of which is a misinterpretation, because there is no separation. Feeling is arising due to conditions. If those conditions are not there, feeling is not there. We can talk more about that kind of thing in future episodes. But what we fail to acknowledge is that feeling is transient. So we're greedy for pleasant feelings in the belief that feeling pleasant is that state of wholeness that we seek. So if life can always be pleasant, if I can always have pleasant contacts, then I'll be happy, I'll be fulfilled, etc. However, feelings are transient. They arise due to conditions and cease. The loss of pleasure is painful. So that leads to the attempt to regain pleasant feelings perpetually. And so that's the greedy side of our nature. So we have to act in order to create situations that produce pleasant contacts. Also, we are adverse to unpleasant feelings and seek to get rid of, to destroy what we consider to be the cause of the unpleasant feelings. So we don't want unpleasant feelings, which again causes us to act. That's acting out of aversion, becomes ill will and hatred. But of course, painful feelings cannot be stopped from arising. They will arise. The very fact of our birth means that there will, conditioned by birth, is painful feeling. So there will be painful feelings, they are transient. So the attempt to get rid of painful feelings is never ending, just as the attempt to grasp onto and maintain pleasant feelings is never ending. So there are feelings with regard to the body and feelings with regard to the mind. So it can be bodily pleasant or bodily painful, mentally pleasant or mentally painful. Feeling itself is a mental quality. So that is what prompts all that activity. There's another side to this too, that the results of our attempts to obtain permanent pleasant states, either through getting rid of the unwanted or through grasping after and maintaining the wanted. Not only are we creating future resultants that will contain feelings that are transient, also we intensify the habitual tendency towards craving, which is a big problem unless you understand what's actually taking place. So, and this is really important for meditators to understand, because I think it's an area of confusion when it comes to meditation. You have to accept the habitual tendencies towards greed and towards aversion as being part of the resultant package. That is to say that with the arising of feeling arises the habitual tendency either towards greed or towards aversion. And there is nothing you can do about that. That's what we mean by passive. There's nothing you can do about the arising of a thought. There's nothing you can do about the arising of, say, a memory. There's nothing you can do about the arising of the feeling that comes with the memory. And there is nothing you can do about the initial launching of that response to the feeling. So there is contact, feeling and response. It is only at the point when that habitual tendency has arisen that then if there is mindfulness and clear comprehension, to then restrain acting upon that impulse. So it isn't, you're not wrong. You haven't done something wrong by merely having the hateful thought or the greedy longing. It's whether that becomes established in the mind and then starts to get worked on. If there is the awareness of it, it can be restrained, and that's an integral part of what we learn when we meditate, is how to restrain those habitual tendencies when they arise. So we're talking about the hindrances here, with sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, worry and doubt. If, however, we are stuck in the narrative of these hindrances and we're ignoring the true nature of what's going on, we are in this vicious loop of trying to get rid of or trying to make become the feelings that we want or don't want, and then we've moved on to craving. So it's really helpful to understand that as part of the resultant side of experience, the initial launching, the initial impulse to want life to be different than it is is inevitable. It's passive, part of the passive side of existence. There's nothing you can do about it. But it's at that point, is mindfulness established? Is mindfulness and clear comprehension established to understand what it is that's actually going on? Because it's at that point, then you can let go. So I think all I really wanted to say is, has been said about that. But can you see how it is actually, in any experience, it's not the person, it's not the environment, it's not the weather, it's not the government, it's not your parents, it's not you, it's feeling. It's amazing how this all actually pivots, the whole of condition-dependent origination pivots on feeling, pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and neutral feelings. So, yeah, I think I'll leave it there for today. 11 minutes. Okay, till the next time.